Grizz Nation, it's your boy Vaughn, man. This is Mismatch Era Podcast, here to discuss two Grizzlies wins in a row after a heated, passionate discussion had on the sideline led by Marcus Smart and some of our veterans speaking up in this locker room and getting this thing going, man. We're going to talk a lot of Grizzlies. We're going to talk about some other teams as well. Some teams are trending upward lately that I just want to shed some light on because I love to talk ball. This is Mismatch Era Podcast, man. Let's get it. This is your boy Vaughn, man, and this is Mismatch Era Podcast. Coming off of two Grizzlies wins, man, after a Marcus Smart pep talk that just went down over 3 or 4 days ago. But just to talk about those veterans for a minute, man, and why it's extremely important to have veterans in your locker room. Even before that happened, man, Derrick Rose just a game before that came out and expressed the fact that, hey, look, if we don't talk and communicate on defense, we'll never win in this league. That was the warning shot from our vets, man. That was the warning shot. And then we go and we get blown out at home, and we go out in a sad way at home. And Marcus Smart had enough of it, man. He said, this is embarrassing. I can cuss. This is my show. This is fucking embarrassing. And he was 100% correct. Even told some people, man, if you don't want to play, you don't want to play hard, you don't want to be out there, just sit down, please. and I feel Marcus Smart on that so much, man, as a Grizzlies fan. But they got it together, man. Right before the game that turned us around with the Utah Jazz, that was probably the best post and pregame media sessions that we had. Where you have those vets who are going to rule with an iron fist and are going to say the things that make you uncomfortable. You're also going to have vets that are going to give it to you, give you the positivity in this situation. And Bismack Biyombo is the perfect person for that, man. He's been through a lot. He was drafted by the original Charlotte Bobcats, so he's been through a lot in his career. And he said, hey, man, look, you're going to lose some games, man. But it's not about what you do right now. It's about what you do moving forward and how you can dig yourself out of this hole. There's still a long way to go in this season. And he gave some positive aspect and view on our situation, man. So it's just dope to have our vets like this spark underneath us. It's a gift and a curse to kind of have our coaching staff move out of the way and just let all of this transpire. I would love to see some of this from our coaching staff. But I'm not on the court. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in the facility. I don't necessarily know what's going on, but I wish we did have more moments like this from our coaching staff instead of having Marcus Smart and the guys have to, reinforce these things and light the fire up underneath us. It just, to me, it's a double-edged sword because it's not necessarily an indictment against Jenkins, but with the other things that we've been wanting from Jenkins and the other criticisms that we've had for Jenkins, doesn't really look good. Feels like Marcus Smart is head coach of this team right now. Like that should have been done by somebody else. But, like I said, I'm not in the facility. I'm not on the court. Maybe it was done by somebody else already. Who knows? But the Grizzlies go on a 2-0 run right after that. Just beat the Utah Jazz in dramatic fashion just a couple days ago. And then tonight we came into Dallas, took on the Dallas Mavericks. No Luka. Congratulations to Luka having a baby girl today, newborn baby girl. Girl dad ×2 right here. So shout out to Luka, man. And thank you. Thank you. The basketball gods finally blessed us with some luck, man. Because not only did they not have Luka, They didn't have Tim Hardaway Jr. as well. And so it opened the door for us to just come in here and try to get an easy win. Wasn't an easy win, but definitely an impressive win. For the second time in a row, we held the team under 95 points. I think that's the first time that we did something like that in 2 years, I believe. 2 years. Early December 2021. Shout out to Stats SAC, Sean Coleman, bringing the stats and always giving us good stats and good energy. Sean said the defense will turn up in December, and lo and behold, December 1st, September 29th, we have 2 back-to-back games where we hold opponents under 95 points, which is pretty impressive in today's NBA. The main catalyst for that defense, man, has been Vince Williams Jr. and Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel, who was signed on a 10-day contract. 10-day contract. He was sitting on his couch, much like Bismack Biyombo that we just got not too long ago. Sitting on his couch and coming in and contributing. Immediately. We took that effort that Santi was giving us in the starting lineup, and we put it on the bench. And this kind of helped balance out the scoring a lot. Not tonight, though. Not tonight. Desmond Bain carried our starting lineup tonight. He had 30 points, and the rest of our starting lineup, nobody had over 6 points. That starting lineup includes Derrick Rose, David Roddy, Bismack Biyombo, and Jaren Jackson Jr., who had another one of those games where he just couldn't get right. I'm going to start calling Jaren can't get right, man. That's what I'm going to start calling Jaren, man. Can't get right. Because he has these 8 or 9 games in the season, maybe 10, where he just can't get right. Like he doesn't get in the rhythm of the game. He's fouling, and it's almost like he just was never there. Like he just never played that night. So let's hope that we can cut down on those games in the near future. But it was another one of those games tonight for Jaren Jackson Jr. But early in the season, we were complaining about not having a lot of firepower off the bench. Jalen Noel and Vince Williams Jr. and Santi Aldama have completely changed that narrative. You even got some good minutes from Zaire Williams. People are starting to be in their rightful place in this rotation, and the bigger picture is starting to come to fruition. When we have Marcus Smart back and Luke Kennard back, Ja Morant back, I think we'll see the future fruits of our labor so far this year. But said all that just to say we won a game holding the team under 95 points. Our starting lineup wasn't that great today. 30 points from Desmond Bain. You don't get anything from your starting lineup, but off the bench, you get 19 points from Jalen Noel. You get 17 points from Santi Aldama, and you get a double-double from Vince Williams Jr. with 15, 11, and 5 assists. Man, we told y'all, man. We told y'all. And we're going to take credit for this because we got a lot of flack for it. I just don't understand how it takes you this long to see that. Another indictment on Taylor Jenkins and his staff, man. You watched this man in training camp. You watched him in Summer League. You watched him in the G League. You watched him in games. Why hasn't this guy been getting this playing time? He's ultra productive. Everything we need. He rebounds the ball at such a high level. His arms are so long that even when he doesn't have the rebound right in front of him, he's very disruptive with his hands, even in rebounding situations, but especially on defense. Jalen Noel is just giving us a veteran presence. He comes in, puts pressure on the defense, passes the ball, drives and kicks, pulls up in the mid-range, gets downhill, pushes the pace, and plays great point of attack defense so far. I don't know how real this is. He's playing for his basketball life. So that can give you that extra kick in the ass that you need. But so far from what I see, man, this is exactly what we need as a Grizzlies team. Having Xavier Tillman back tonight. He came back tonight, played against Dallas tonight, and I'm just happy to have Xavier Tillman back for his flexibility and his ability on the defensive end. Like, he's really good at switching. You don't have to play too much drop coverage. We have one of the best rim protection rates in the league with Biyombo and Jaren out there. Shout out to Fanicky Stats. He really pointed this out earlier with a couple of his tweets. So go follow Fanicky Stats. Take a look at that. But we do really well protecting the rim, but we're giving up historic numbers from three. Mostly because Bismack Biyombo is playing in that drop coverage, and he's never coming up to the three-point line to contest anything, and it's leaving us in a vulnerable position. Hopefully, with having Xavier Tillman back, a lot of that can stop. And we did see that tonight. Xavier Tillman switched out, contested threes pretty well. For a team that shoots threes as well as the Mavericks do, I won't say as well as, because I don't necessarily have the numbers in front of me, but a team that wants to shoot threes as much as the Dallas Mavericks do, we did a hell of a job tonight. Amazing defense tonight. I'm going to go back and watch this film and just salivate at the defense because I just love defense so much. Nurse Williams gave us Tony Allen vibes tonight, man. Tony Allen vibes. Jalen Noel was out there. That 24 looked like the other 24. But just a little bit better on the offensive end. And that's the type of intensity and energy that we need, man. And I'm proud of this team. Proud of this team tonight for getting that win. The bench mob is back in Memphis, man. We got to keep it up. Let's get some wins. We play Phoenix here on a back-to-back. And then we get a good little break because they're having an in-season tournament. We get a good little break, and we got to play – I believe we play the Pistons and Minnesota again, which is not necessarily an easier opponent, but I think we can beat that team. So if we can inch out some wins here down the stretch, we can get at least 5 of these wins. 5 of these wins before Ja gets back. That'll put us at 10 and 15 or so. We're giving ourselves a shot. We do even better than that. Watch out. West is on notice. For sure. In terms of some stats from Sean Coleman, he said the Grizzlies are the first team in the NBA since January 5th of 2020 that won a meaningful game with 4 of the 5 starters scoring 6 points or less. That's pretty impressive, man. That's pretty impressive to do stuff. Even with the shorthanded Mavs, we're shorthanded ourselves, so it's fair. To do something like that with the performances that we got off the bench from Santi, Jalen, and Vince, amazing shit, amazing stuff. Ja's preparing for a return, man. His minutes, not his minutes, but his reps in practice are getting bumped up. The time that he's spending playing with the starting lineup, they're preparing for this comeback, man. I'm excited for it. We got 8 games left. That's all we got. 8 games left, December 19th. And Ja will be back and all will be well. But we got to take care of business here down the stretch. But yeah, that's all on the Grizzlies tonight. But we did have some interesting discussions during the week regarding the Grizzlies. Somebody asked the question, do you think the rest of the young teams in the NBA are catching the Grizzlies? That's a very good question. Especially through these first 15 games. We'll talk about it on the other side, man. This is Mitch Machero. Yes, man. So the question is, do you think other teams in the NBA have caught up to the Grizzlies? A lot of teams are trending upward. You got the Wolves who are sitting atop the West right now. You got the Thunder, who look like a carbon copy almost of the Memphis Grizzlies, a younger, more explosive, more skilled carbon copy of the Grizzlies. You have the Rockets, who are trending upward as well, or some people may say, through the first 15 games. Let's start with the Wolves, man. My question would be, when you say catching the Grizzlies, what do you mean? I mean, what do you mean? I mean, because honestly, as the Grizzlies, we've kind of underachieved the last 2 years. In terms of age and in terms of where we're at this portion in the careers of our stars, we're way ahead of schedule, as people will say. But in terms of our roster and the chances that we've had over the last 2 years, we have underachieved. So when you say, have they caught the Grizzlies, what do you mean? Because when I look at the Wolves roster, I see Cat, who's a veteran and really hasn't won anything his entire career. And it's kind of inching up to that prime or back end of his prime in the next 3 or 4 years. And I mean, the pressure is kind of on for Cat, for Rudy Gobert, for Mike Conley, for those type of guys to get a ring. Like, they're way further ahead in terms of the window, the championship window, I guess you could say. For, championship window basically is defined by how competitive you are, how old your players are, and what are the chances of you being able to win a championship. Like, that's what your championship window is defined as. So if we're looking at it that way, no, like I wouldn't say the Wolves have caught up to the Memphis Grizzlies, because like they have a lot of players who are probably on the back end of their prime, and kind of like have to get it done right now, even down to their role players. I don't know what Kyle Anderson is going to be in 2 or 3 years. I don't know what Mike Conley is going to be in 2 to 3 years. I don't know if Cat will even be around and be a Minnesota Timberwolf in the next 3 years. So with the Timberwolves, I can't really say that they've caught up to the Grizzlies. Have they passed the Grizzlies? We don't really know that either, because Ja isn't playing, Smart isn't playing, and our team just hasn't, haven't seen our team together, and we've been decimated by injuries, so no one knows. But technically, let's just say, yeah, for the Wolves. Let's say the Wolves have passed the Grizzlies based on those observations and those points that I just made before then. So let's say, yes, the Wolves have passed, but I'm going to put a asterisk beside that, because obviously we haven't seen our guys together, and we have a lot. Our window is much wider. It's just much wider than most people, man. Like, I hate to say that, because I know some of my guys, some of my guys like EJ and Ain't It Man. Like, I know that they're not gonna like that one, but our window is it is that big. Like, we have a lot of room for error. Do we want to do that? The goal is to win the championship. No, we don't want to expound on that, that room for error, but the room for error is there. The Thunder. Thunder is one of those teams that you can probably say is a carbon copy of the Grizzlies. You have your superstar in Ja, you have your superstar in Shea. You have your long unicorn player who can shoot the three, who can play in the post, who's a defensive stalemate, and Jaren and Chat. All right, and then you have your off-ball third to second star, other scorer, offensive, that third fiddle guy, in Desmond Bane and in Jalen Williams. In terms of the other pieces around them, I do think if you are not including injuries, the Grizzlies are just much more prepared to win the championship and are much better around those players than the Thunder are. I do think the Thunder have a great chance to take a step forward this year and start to, take some steps towards being contenders. But what have they done yet? They haven't done anything yet. I mean, even when you compare the stars and Shy and Ja, like Ja has pretty much been in the playoffs every year of his career. Even the year when he didn't make the playoffs, the season got cut off in the middle, and they were probably going to run away with the 8th seed. But they did that play-in tournament in the bubble. A lot of injuries happened, and the Grizzlies lost. But from the time Ja Morant has stepped into the league, he's been a winner. He's been a winner. He's been in the playoffs, competing. We're just waiting for this team and him to take that next step and get to a conference finals or get to a finals. And so when you put it in net terms, do the Thunder have a chance to catch the Grizzlies? Yes, but I don't see it happening. We will have to take a step back. So far this year, we are indeed taking a step back. In the first 15 games, when you just judge the first 15 games, you would say yes. But I have to see this season play out. I don't think the Grizzlies are gonna miss the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck their way all the way up to the fourth or fifth seed. I would not be surprised. We'll have 57 games of Ja. Identity is starting to come back a little bit. If they can inch out some of these wins, like I said in the beginning, right back in the race. And those type of runs we can go on when Ja's in that lineup. So not counting them out yet. So for the Thunder, for right now, I'm going to say no. Put an X on that. I'm going to say no. Then you have the Rockets, man. And I just think this one is so laughable to me. I'm only doing this one out of the respect of some of my Grizzlies, Grizzly companions, Grizzly tribe that just loves Dillon Brooks so much, and they're making so much of this start that the Rockets are having. But in reality, the Rockets don't have a star. All right? Their head coach is probably their star. They don't have a star. They're very beatable. I don't know if they're going to beat us again this year. I'll have to see, but they're especially not going to beat us with Ja out there. I don't think they have the players or the energy in terms of, the star to be able to make the type of run that is being expected of them right now. Yes, they had a first 15 games were pretty good. Not dealing with a lot of injuries. Alperen Sengun is playing pretty well. Jalen Green is finding his footing. Dillon and Van Fleet are good leaders, and some of those young pieces around them are starting to blossom a little bit. But let's not make the comparison, dog. They were in the lottery for a reason last year. You know what I mean? They were in the lottery for a reason. This team is not on the level of a Grizzlies team. Even if the Grizzlies so happen to miss the playoffs this year, I will put an asterisk beside it and say, 25 games, no job, historic injury bug, and they go and they get a lottery pick, or they use that lottery pick to go and get somebody else to help this team. The Rockets are not going to catch the Grizzlies until they find a star. Right now, Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green are really good, but are they Ja Morant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards good? No, they're not. They have to find that guy first, and they just haven't found it. One other team that I wanted to talk about, man, I'm not going to lie, I'm a Grizzlies fan, but I do have some favorite teams. And my league pass team this year is the Orlando Magic. Love the Orlando Magic, and they've run out a couple of games, a good amount of games in a row. They look like they're trending in the right direction. I thought this jump was going to happen last year, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. But this year, they're starting to figure it out, man, and I really like this Magic team. When you talk about a team that could possibly catch the Grizzlies, that can be a team that you watch out for, even though they're in the Eastern Conference. If we happen to expand here at some point in the future, they will become our problem, because I predict that the Grizzlies are going to move to the Eastern Conference if that expansion does happen. But I really love what the Orlando Magic are doing, man, with Franz Wagner, who I really wanted to be a Grizzly. People call me crazy, though. They call me crazy. But I really wanted him to be a Grizzly. Paolo Banchero playing really well. And then you got those others around it. Looks like Cole Anthony has felt his role off the bench, playing that Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford role off the bench, which I always knew was going to be his role, much like Emmanuel Quickly in New York. So they're finding something there, and they don't even have all of their guys back. They don't have all of their guys back. They don't have the Wendell Carters of the world back. They don't have Fulton back yet. But Jalen Suggs and those guys, they're playing pretty well around them, and it's just fun to watch. Anthony Black, I really like that team, and I really like what they're building there. We'll see where that goes. I'm going to be watching that team this year. That's my league pass team. I had similar feelings about Charlotte, but they just can't stay healthy and they can't stay out of trouble. So, Orlando's going to be my league pass team this year to watch. But in terms of the Grizzlies, man, let's try to reel off some wins here and keep it close until Ja Morant comes back. And all of that shit that everybody was talking at the beginning of the year, they're going to have to eat their words. Get ready to eat y'all words, man. And when those Grizzly vibes come back, when that big Memphis vibe come back, you gotta put up a shut up. Put up a shut up, man. This is Mismatch Era Podcast. This your boy Vaughn. I'm gonna see y'all next time, man.
At home, and Morant is the hero.